This is News 8 on Wood TV, honoring Black history.
Good evening, everyone. Glad you're here. I'm Donovan Long.
And I'm Brittany Flowers. For the next half hour, we'll share stories of Black history here in West Michigan, from those who have impacted us in the past to people who are making history right now.
Yeah, people like a Supreme Court justice who made history as our state's first Black woman to serve on the bench. You'll hear how white supremacy motivated Justice Kyra Harris Bolden to go to law school and fight for people like her grandfather who suffered a great injustice.
Plus, a dive into the history of what's become known as the Black National Anthem. What educators say this song represents more than 100 years after it was written.
And a long legacy of laughter, how African Americans impacted the world of comedy.
But first tonight, from lynching to law school, the first Black woman to serve on the Michigan Supreme Court said her family helped her prepare for a seat on the bench.
Yeah, I sat down with Justice Kyra Harris Bolden to learn how she plans to serve and what she wants her historic appointment to mean to young people. When Justice Kyra Harris Bolden unlocked her potential, doors started opening.
I don't think it's sunk in yet.
She's processing a lot.
And I don't know if it ever will.
But her purpose keeps her grounded.
I always think of myself as a public servant.
Justice Bolden is a lawmaker turned history maker.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
She took an oath in January to become the first Black woman to serve on the Michigan Supreme Court since its founding in 1836. Did you ever think you would get to this position in your life?
No, no. It was not really a thought, but quietly behind the scenes, I have always advocated for a Black woman to be on the Michigan Supreme Court. Did not think it was going to be me.
It is you. Yeah, it's literally you. You are that person you're advocating for.
I know. I didn't think it was going to be me.
The justice carries with her to work an injustice that's plagued her family for decades.
My great-grandfather was lynched in 1939 in Arlington, Tennessee, after asking a store owner for a receipt. And he was beaten and castrated and thrown into the local river, and the coroner deemed it an accidental drowning. And as a result, his murderers walked free.
Justice Bolden says her grandmother told her that story when she was an undergrad student at Grand Valley State University.
And we went from lynching to law school.
It motivated her to go to law school.
She's just one of the best people I've ever known.
With the support of her former GVSU professor, Kathleen Bloomreich.
And I think she brings a much-needed voice to the bench. I want her to continue to fight for women, continue to fight for African American women, for the African American community.
That fight, to be seen, continues.
And we can't disregard that.
But the view of this seat is a start.
I really, truly believe that, we should reflect the diversity, background, experiences, and perspectives of Michigan.
It's incredible to see how her family's history has gotten her to where she is today, and I'm sure that just inspires her to work even harder.
It does. It really does, and for her to motivate young people as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Early images of Black history at an all-Black university in Alabama are on display at the Grand Rapids Public Museum.
News 8's Gabrielle Pfeiffer explains the significance of it all.
Centuries worth of historical records take up space inside Grand Rapids Public Museum's archival collection.
There is so much stuff in the archives, right? This museum was chartered in 1850.
On any given day,
what is this?
Archivists never know what they'll find.
We sort of stumbled upon a treasure unexpectedly.
That treasure,
it was kind of a cool find.
Part of Black history.
Through that grant, we were able to spend a full year with a staff person dedicated to this project.
The grants came from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. 2 years ago, that staff member uncovered over 5,000 black and white photographic lantern slides. 69 of those showed students at Tuskegee Institute in the late 1800s. It's a historically black college in Alabama, now known as Tuskegee University.
It confirms a lot of stuff.
Booker T. Washington was the college's first president. How did those slides even get from Tuskegee, Alabama to Grand Rapids, Michigan? Well, records show Booker T's presence may be the answer.
You know, Booker T. Washington was very well known and well respected here in Grand Rapids. Could have been that he brought them himself. I kind of like to think that maybe, he was using them in a lecture or, to show the work that he was doing.
Local historian Dr. Randall Jelks has dug deep into Booker T's ties to GR. He says Booker T made many trips to churches in the Furniture City often.
He wanted to model a school like Tuskegee throughout the sort of the Black diaspora.
The slides were on display for the first time this month. Though the images don't show specific history related to Grand Rapids, Dr. Jelks says it does show Black success during difficult times.
And the laws were unjust, the laws were brutal, and the laws allowed brutality to happen, but that still doesn't mean that people didn't build their lives and try to work for a better life. People like Booker T reminds us, and the whole cohort of people remind us of that kind of great dignity.
The slides will remain on display inside the Grand Rapids Public Museum until the end of the month. In Grand Rapids, Gabrielle Pfeiffer, News 8.
Lift Every Voice and Sing has a long-standing history in the Black community. If you watched the Super Bowl, you might have heard Abbott Elementary actor Cheryl Lee Ralph sing it before the national anthem. I spoke with a music director in Grand Rapids who gives us a look at the meaning behind the music.
Music often has a way of evoking emotion, but sometimes even more powerful than the song itself is the history it carries.
Music has the ability to change the way you think and the way you feel and the way you react.
As the executive director of the Girls Choral Academy, Lisa Knight knows there's strength in song. She also knows the weight this hymn carries.
That song was written for Black people, by Black people.
Former NAACP leader James Weldon Johnson wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing as a poem in 1900. His brother later composed music for the lyrics, and it became known as the Black National Anthem, a rallying cry that underscored the civil rights movement.
It was something that people grabbed a hold of and sung when they talked about the struggles and the impact of oppression and racism and the things that they dealt with.
Those struggles, now a lesson for this generation.
It's a seed that can be planted.
It's also an opportunity to inspire. The girls performed this piece at DeVos Place for an event on MLK Day.
They, throughout their lives, will be able to reflect back on the words of this song and how it impacts them as a people.
Knight's hope is that this song binds all communities of color and also serves as a blueprint for change.
There's a lot more work that needs to be done, and I hope that we can utilize these different venues to begin to create conversation and opportunities for people of color in this community.
Much more to come tonight, including recognizing the unsung heroes. We'll introduce you to a man who's using his position to help create solutions for food insecurity in West Michigan.
And a little bit later, a man whose family has a long history of public service is now making history in Michigan's legislature. How House Speaker Joe Tate says his family inspired his desire to serve, as our Black History Month special continues. All right, folks, welcome back. As we celebrate Black history, we recognize the unsung heroes working in our community to create more opportunities for future generations.
Yeah, Brian Sterling introduces us to a man who stays connected to his West Michigan roots, looking to give a hand up instead of a hand out.
I grew up snapping peas, and I grew up helping her pick fresh fruit and vegetable out the garden.
Growing up in Muskegon Heights, Rodney Savage learned early how access to good food and the lack of it had a direct impact on the overall health of the community.
We had a lot of love, we had a lot of laughter, but there were many times when there may not have been enough to go around.
As Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the nonprofit Kids Food Basket, Rodney Savage seized on an opportunity to come full circle, looking for solutions to childhood hunger in his hometown and greater West Michigan.
You don't know when you're 9 years old, 10 years old, growing up, what journey your life is going to take you on and where you're going to come back. But to be able to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem, to be able to come back and serve my community, yeah, that makes me sleep better at night as well, regardless if anybody notices or not. So
that recognition can be found in the growing need. Upon its founding, Kids Food Basket originally served 125 kids in Kent County. 20 years later, KFB serves some 10,000 meals to 60 schools in 4 West Michigan counties. Savage says the concept of providing so-called sack suppers are healthy alternatives aimed at providing a nutritional foundation. As the director of DEI, Rodney helped lead a series of focus groups and community listening sessions to emphasize that point.
You're dealing with behavioral issues. You're dealing with all sorts of issues when your body and brain doesn't get the healthy food and nourishment that it needs to grow.
In 2020, Governor Gretchen Whitmer created the Food Security Council to look into food insecurity in the state. The advisory group submitted its findings to the governor in a report last year, indicating that some 1.9 million Michiganders faced food insecurity, more than 552,000 of them children.
It's not political. It's not political at all. It's a moral issue of what's right and making room and making space for everyone, to making sure everyone feels seen, everyone feels heard, everyone feels value in this great country that we live in.
For Rodney Savage, it's about nourishing a neighborhood without access, opening up opportunities within his own community, and waiting for the good results to grow. Brian Sterling, News 8.
When you think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a few words probably come to mind. Minister, hero, civil rights leader. But there's another side to Dr. King that we don't see as often. A more human side. A play called The Mountaintop is taking the stage at Kalamazoo College Festival Playhouse. Set entirely in room 306 of the Lorraine Motel on the eve of his assassination, the play encourages the audience to see the more human side of Dr. King. 2020 Kalamazoo College graduate Jared Pittman will play the role of MLK, and Milan Levy plays a young hotel maid named Kamei.
It just shows how human he was behind closed doors. And it just also gives individuals the opportunity to understand that, like, even our heroes are human, and even they have things that they fall short at, and things that they go through because they have to be this massive person in public. But behind closed doors, they deal with the things that they deal with as well. This is in Chicago.
Tonight is the show's opening night. The production runs at the Festival Playhouse through Sunday.
Alrighty, still to come. A Michigan man who served his country is now serving his community in the legislature. How House Speaker Joe Tate says he wants to use his historic role to inspire future leaders of color. A man in the Michigan legislature has held many titles throughout his life. Football player, Marine, and lawmaker. He's now adding first to that list. I sat down with Joe Tate to learn who directed his path to become the first black Speaker of the House.
Good morning, everyone.
Public service is in Speaker Joe Tate's blood.
My dad was a firefighter for the city of Detroit. My mom was a public school teacher in Detroit.
Their acts of service laid the foundation for who and what he'd become.
They are definitely two people that definitely motivate me.
Speaker Tate served his country in the Marine Corps, his teammates on the football field.
We are all on the same team.
And his community as a lawmaker. He is now serving Michigan's 102nd legislature as the first black Speaker of the House. You think 16-year-old you would ever imagine you'd be sitting here today in this position?
Absolutely not. I was just worried about, making it to class on time. This has been a dream, really. I also want to thank...
It's also a full circle moment for his 100-year-old grandmother from Alabama.
She's still around, so still able to have conversations with her and what she's seen throughout her life, obviously going through Jim Crow and segregation to where we're at right now. I think it's a proud moment for the family.
Do you see yourself as a history maker or just a regular guy doing what he loves?
I stand on the shoulders of giants, what they're saying. So there have been people before me and beside me that have been doing a lot of work to support Black Americans across the state of Michigan. So don't view myself as a first, but certainly don't want to be the last.
Speaker Tate wants his path to become the standard, not the exception.
So I think diversity matters.
The two new Democratic leaders who've each made history.
He hopes his presence in this position will speak for itself.
Seeing people that look like you in roles, I think that's important, not only for children, but for...
Coming up, laughing through what was often a painful history. A look at how current comedians are continuing the legacy of groundbreaking Black entertainers. Welcome back. Finally tonight, we're looking at the history of comedy from the lens of African Americans.
Yeah, Professor took our Gabrielle Pfeiffer back to the past and shares how comedians have used their pain for a purpose.
Humor has always been a recipe for healing for African Americans.
Black comedy is beautiful. It is very beautiful. And I love it because we speak what we know.
It's amusing, but also an escape.
Early on during slavery, they used humor as a way to kind of get through their days.
Dr. Celeste Love is an assistant professor of African American Studies at Grand Valley State University. From slavery into the civil rights movement, she says white audiences had their own form of entertainment.
There were things called minstrel shows where white people represented Black people through very stereotypical portrayals in comedic ways. And so through this comedy, it kind of reinforced negative stereotypes about Black people.
Moms Mabley, Dick Gregory, and Richard Pryor are some of the Black comedians who rose above the racism. They used their jokes to highlight the inequalities Black people faced.
Humor for us has kind of connected us and allowed us to kind of talk back to the oppressive and discriminatory structures that have impacted our lives. It's allowed us to kind of release that aggression as well.
Brandon Quayshawn has been in the business for over 20 years.
I like doing voices or talking to characters and say, you know what, sweetheart, so the other day I was walking down the street the other day and, ooh, I saw this young man.
He's learned from and even worked with some of those comedic greats.
I opened up for Dick Gregory, too.
Wow.
And opened up for other comedians since, like Steve Harvey, Cat Williams, a lot of comedians from Def Comedy Jam and BET Comic View.
Quayshawn says Black comedians have led a legacy of courage and perseverance. He strives to do that when he steps on stage, leaning on the advice of those that came before him.
I was always told, try to be much as diverse as you possibly can, because everybody's comedy is different. Every audience is different.
In Grand Rapids, Gabrielle Pfeiffer, News 8.
Well, we want to thank you so much for going on a journey with us through time in celebration of our history, Black history.
We hope the stories of our past helped remind you of the focus of our future, equality.
And we'll continue to share even more of our stories through the end of the month.
Thanks so much for watching. Good night.